you define success. And sometimes based on the industry. So an example, if I have to look at engagement for a social product, and I want to become the next Snapchat, I need to look at what Snapchat is doing in terms of engagement and growth. Those are good proxies, and what they define success is probably relevant for me to define success. Another example is, for Jetsetter, which is another company I work with, it was a number of nights books, which is standard in the hotel industry. So there are some of those who are very specific. Net Promoter Score is one that I really like, and it's a bit intangible. So basically, but it's very important, it tells you how much your users love your product. So that has different meanings. It means if they love your product, they're going to come back and they're going to tell their friends about it. So when you're really delighted, you have more increased likelihood of referring your friends to it. So Net Promoter Score is simply asking in a survey to your users, how likely are you to recommend the product to your friends or to people around you on a scale from 1 to 10. So it's a very basic things to do. First, even before you have product market fit, to continue to realize, what is the value and how much value people are getting from your product. It's important to continue to do it, to continue to take the pulse in how of a quality product, the quality of the product you're delivering. I take an example is Guild Group. Their whole growth was based on referral. And you were inviting a friend to Guild Group and you were getting credit back into your account. So people needed to feel excited about the product. And so that Net Promoter Score was very, very high at the beginning. So that's a very good metric. It's a bit intangible again. It's not something that you can measure. You're asking people to tell you how they feel, basically. Another one is retention. Obviously, it's very important. So retention, you have to define what's important and what does retention mean. So if on average a user comes back every 6 days to look at your product, so you need to look at retention within those brackets of days. There's, in general, for web or mobile products, you're going to look at retention on day 1, on day 7, on day 30, and every month after that. So if I had a user coming into Secret and I wanted to know how percentage of them coming back the next day, percentage of them coming back on day 7, and 30, etc. And you just follow those users and you make sure you understand that retention pattern. And what that means is you will eventually be able to model out what that retention looks like. And hopefully, it flattens out, going back to the asymptote curve. So this is a very important metric. Retention rate, day 1, 7, 30, and every month after that. Another that is important is obviously growth rate. So growth rate means, and there's a lot of, I remember, it wasn't necessarily very known before, but a lot of companies in Silicon Valley really focus on week-over-week or month-over-month growth. So what matters is you're driving such significant growth that you only have to, you almost have to isolate it on a week-by-week basis. And Instacart is one of the companies that look at their growth on a week-by-week basis, which is insane. If you're able to drive 10% growth on a week-by-week basis, this isn't crazy. Another one, Ship recently said that they're doing 20% month-over-month. So this is very important for your business. You want to make sure that you're making progress. And growth rate can mean traffic. It can mean revenue. It can mean users. So there's also a lot of gray area there on the metrics that you see out there around growth rate, because it means something different. If you get traffic increase and your ultimate goal is to get revenue, it's not, it doesn't mean as much. So we try to focus on what matters most to the business. There's also what we call the K factor. So K factor is, out of one user that comes to your platform, how many other users are joining as a direct result. So it's very linked to the Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is more users who are giving you feedback. The K factor is something that you can actually measure. So again, if I take the example of Guild, I could model out, and I knew that on average, one person was bringing on X other users through this invite system. And so that was a net promoter score that was very high. And so you need to make sure that you can track it to the best of your abilities, because it could be word of mouth. But often you also build the mechanics within the product for the users to invite their friends. You want to make it easy for them. So that's another way you can track it.